Welcome back to another episode of yours truly. It is I, your host, Druelee, of course. I hope everyone is doing awesome. Minnesota's weather has been super duper bipolar the last couple of days, so hopefully it stays sunny and warm because your girl would love to be out and about and enjoying the sunny weather. On this episode, I am diving deep into what happens when you end up the relationship. Or when you break up with the person that you're with, and one of you still have your door wide ass open for what you think you could potentially become friends or get back together. For me, I say close that motherfucking door, because if they didn't change to better themselves and the relationship during the time you guys were together, what makes you think they are going to after you guys do end up together again? Not a chance, okay? When they say let's be friends after breaking up with you and they were the one who did you wrong in the relationship, it's just their way of still wanting control or have access to you. They don't want to be with you. They know that you are an easy target to manipulate and to use you as a puppet. Whenever they are done fucking around, playing games with other people, or hoeing around, they know you are the last resort to where they can come home to. Now, if you're the type of person who can be easily manipulated and you cave in, as in whenever this person calls you or texts you, I miss you, babe, I miss us, can you come over, I need to talk to you, and your fucking dumbass gets out of your fucking bed or the couch and you drive to that person's house or to even reply to the text or call. Honey boo boo child, no, stop with that shit. I know it's easier said than done, but listen to me. Block that motherfucker. Block all of their social media. Get a new phone number or a new phone service. Block, block, block. That's the only way for you to not be in touch with that person, and it's just easier for them to not contact you. That way you don't feel all lost and full of stupid ass emotions for that person. Just block the motherfucker, okay? I know some of y'all aren't able to do that, okay? I get that. Me, on the other hand, I did kind of hesitate, and I will give you guys an example of what I have to go through when it comes to, having that closure, because some people, they just don't like to have their doors open. So at one point, I blocked Lost Boy. Right after we finalized our finances, I blocked him, and then somehow I decided to unblock him because I felt that I no longer had any anger towards him, and I've already made up my mind that I didn't want to be petty, and so I just unblocked him. Weeks after I did that, he had the audacity to Facebook message me about the boat. Now, if you're just tuning in to this episode and you haven't listened to my previous episodes, I mentioned about him buying the boat behind my back. So he basically bought a boat because his parents wanted him to. Coming back to what I'm trying to say here is that he Facebook messaged me about the boat to see if I have the title to the boat. I ignored him and I didn't reply. I mean, I could have either reply back to him saying that, oh, you need me to look for the title, or he wanted me to respond, but I didn't. A couple of weeks later went by and he messaged me again on the first week of November, telling me an happy early birthday. Now, my birthday falls in the week of Thanksgiving week, and he messaged me that during the first week of November. And I was like, why the fuck are you messaging me to wish me a happy early birthday? And it seems like he was just trying to get me to conversate with him. I ignored that too. And then, ever since he messaged me to say happy birthday to me, I just decided, you know what? I think it's time for me to just block you again. And I blocked him. So a month went by. At the end of December, I guess words got out to the church members and someone must have told him about my dad. So at that time, I moved in with my dad, and one day while I was asleep, he came home early from work and he told me that he wasn't feeling well. So I had to take him into the ER. At the same time when we were there, the nurses had to take a COVID test. And as we got the result back, he was positive for COVID. So I guess Lost Boy found out about that and decided to personally email me about hearing about my dad and saying that if I needed someone to talk to, he is there. Last time I checked, I did that during our marriage. And what happened? You just sat there in silence and didn't say a word or even try to listen to my concerns. And at the end of it all, you would never be the person I will contact for any help. You're just a lost cause. So super weird, so random. It's like, yeah, you couldn't reach me through my Facebook message because I blocked your ass. You couldn't even call me or text me because I got a new number. And for you to reach out to me on my personal email account, that was so stupid of you. And you guys had to be strong enough to ignore people like that. It's just a way to irk you, to have you get a response, and for you to be in your weak moment. And don't let that get to you, okay? You have to know yourself, know your worth, and not let people do that to you. Anyways, I'm just using my example to let y'all know that people like him will find any ways to contact or connect with you just so that, you will respond back. I know my worth and I shut that shit down from the beginning. I mean, TMI, for those who are 18 and younger or 17 or younger, I'm just letting you know, TMI. But one of the reasons why some people will have a hard time leaving or they keep coming back to that same person is because of sex. They're very comfortable and they miss the sex. Y'all, at that point, it was not even worth my time and my energy to go back to Lost Boy. And even if I was given the chance to, I wouldn't. Because like I said, I know my worth and I have so many self-respect for myself. My worth and my self-respect was more important than sex. And besides, our sex wasn't all that, okay? I'm sorry. I have to say it. It wasn't all that. So I didn't even miss it at all, okay? And for those who use that as an excuse to say that, like the sex was good, the dick was good, or whatever, I'm sorry. For me, nope. It wasn't doing much for me. And again, I will definitely do a separate episode on sex and what I view of it when it comes to it. But aside from that, it is what it is, okay? All besides that, I've also come to the point where I wanted to really close that relationship and close that chapter and not have any connection with him. A part of me just wanted to tell Lost Boy my last, goodbye and just have a peaceful, cordial ending. I spoke to my friends about this and they say that sometimes it's best to not say any last goodbyes and just be gone. I've watched so many videos about this as well, and a lot of people said the same thing. It's best to stay no contact, ghost them, delete or block their social media, and pretty much disappear. Don't say a word to them. Me being an emotional dumbass and me wanting to do things correctly, I guess, I decided to send him one last message right after we finalized our finances. It took a while just to finalize everything because Lost Boy was taking a sweet ass motherfucking time and I was so fucking irritated. It took him forever just to close our joint account. Throughout it all, I was so done and over with it. When I contacted him about that, I just played nice and I kept messaging him just so he thinks that I was okay with everything and that I was stroking his ego. I don't know. I just did whatever because at that point I was like, I'm just done with this shit. Like, hurry the fuck up, And I know that he purposely took his sweet ass time to close the account because he did message me saying that, hey, just letting you know, if I close the account, it'll be the end of us. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Close the fucking account so that I can no longer have anything attached to you. So right after that was done, I wrote him a long ass novel, or I wrote him a long ass message novel, because Lost Boy was a type of person who loves writing novels. Even though he could have just called me to talk about these things, he'd rather just stay on his computer, on his phone, and just write me a novel. So if that's what he wanted to do, was to send me a large ass paragraph, I'll do the same. So I sent it to him, and he responded in a way where I already knew he was going to respond, which was very negative and offensive, pretty much pointing everything on me. I didn't read all of it because I knew he was just talking shit and saying all these things that I did wrong in the relationship, while he, on the other hand, couldn't take accountability of his own portion of his fault, and thinking that he didn't do any harm in the relationship. And like, the funny thing is that, I saved those messages just because I saved those messages by screenshotting them, just in case he or Lost Mom would use that, or we would use my words against me. And the only reason why I say that is because a year has passed, and as I was cleaning my photos one day, I stumbled upon those screenshots of the messages. I, wanted to reread them again to see what he said. And I read everything. And you guys, there were some things that I didn't know that was in the message until I read it. And it seems like, for me, I honestly felt like someone else was writing the message to me. It's kind of like they were stressing their own personal feelings towards me and my relationship with Lost Boy. So let me pull up the messages so that you guys could understand what I'm trying to say. Because again, I have to reread everything. I was like, what? I didn't do this, or what? And then somehow it switched to his view to another person's view, which I honestly feel like Lost Mom was also writing this to me too. But again, like I said, I wrote my closure to him, and it wasn't anything negative. I just pretty much thanked him for everything that he's done for me, and I'm really hurt and sad that things didn't work out, and I was super sad that he found somebody very quick and all that stuff. But overall, I just wished him well, and I also gave him like 4 songs that he can listen to whenever he misses me, because he sure did that to me. So I'm like, okay, if you're gonna send me some songs, let me send you some of my songs. That way, if you happen to hear those songs, you can think of me. But anyway, aside from that, this is what his response was, okay? And there'll be some things that I won't share just because there are other people's name in here that I don't want to mention, but this was his response. To be honest, before our marriage, during our marriage, and after our marriage, you still see nobody but yourself. Selfish. It's not that I don't consider the things you just said above, but because you have said things and done things to put me down in my lowest point in life. At this point, justifying your feelings are irrelevant because they couldn't been said a long time ago when I gave up everything to work on the marriage out. Let's be logical here. If you were a good wife, you would have never given me an ultimatum of anything. But you did. You made me choose you over my parents, the important people who were the world to me, who gave birth and raised me. And with that choice, you gave no acknowledgement to me of what I had to put up with and how it made me feel. Instead, you shrug it off as if my choice had no meaning. If you were a good wife, you would have stripped your pride and ego to be a humble person, yet you still hold grudges on the people I love, like my mom, who I dearly love deeply and look up to. So when he was referring to his mom, he's referring to his stepmom. And again, like I mentioned, he doesn't have a good relationship with his birth mom. He was talking about his stepmom, but because Lost Mom doesn't like to use the word stepmom, she will rather have her stepkids call her mom. So I'm just letting you guys know that. If you were a good wife, you wouldn't disrespect who I am to you. You constantly compare me to my dad, that I am a bum, that can't keep a job, and all I wanted to do was play games even though you knew my dad was sick. If you were a good wife, you would have supported me and helped me to make something of myself. For example, become an artist. Yet, you constantly discouraged me, telling me that I was never good enough and that I was a boy and not a man. If you were a good wife, you wouldn't treat me like an animal, less than a cat. And then, you guys, this is the part where it's switched to someone else's view. Like, so in the beginning, it seemed like it was him writing all these things, right? So this next portion that I'm going to share with you guys, it seems like it was someone else that's writing this to me. And I have a feeling that Lost Mom was the one that actually wrote parts of this message. So this is what she wrote. If you were a good wife, you wouldn't treat me like an animal, less than the cats. Kicked your husband out of his own roof, threw his clothes out, lock him out of his own room, make him sleep on the futon, have him starved at work, and think that all he wanted was makeup sex. If you were a good wife, you would have kept trying to make the marriage work, but you don't have the decency to come talk to me or fight for me. Throughout this whole month after the divorce, you still haven't asked for me back. And the only thing you do is call my family complaining that I'm not good enough. So the people that she mentioned, there were 3 people, which was their grandma, the aunt, and the uncle. So basically, she was saying that, instead of me talking to him about our problems, I decided to step out and talk to those 3 people about my marriage. And let's continue on. To be a good wife is to love your husband unconditionally, to be his hands and feet to support him, help lead him to become a better man rather than to discourage him as a boy, to respect your husband, to never discourage his demeanor, to not bombard him with his past and his mistakes. To be a good wife is to be the woman from Proverbs 31. Now, let's take a break and let's take a pause, okay? Usually, narcissist people tend to use Bible verse when it comes to them arguing or trying to prove their point. People like that, you guys need to step away from those people, because they will use God's word to portray themselves as if they're holier than thou and that they know what the fuck they're talking about. But yeah, they are the type of people who are very toxic and are fake as fuck. So let's move on. And then, you guys, this is the part where I felt like, whoa, like I would never think that Lost Boy would say this to me, but this is what he wrote next. Girl, I gave up everything. You guys, I mean it. Like he or she, I don't know, wrote girl, I gave up everything. Music, video games, my family, and the list goes on. And you name it. Yet all of this was still never good enough. I respected you so much to the point I literally give up everything for you until I had nothing to give anymore. Even after the first time I was broken. So you tell me, who is in the wrong here? I appreciate you that you thought you were a good wife for all those time, but I'm grateful that you were who you are, because for 10 years now I finally woke up to my sense. I know my values and my worth. I will never allow myself to go through this again and be with someone who gives me an ultimatum. Also, it's funny that you're the one to mention about being professional at work. Yes, at work I will remain professional. Therefore, going forward, I don't need you to spread rumors about my family, and you don't need to tell my friends about my family matters. And if you are professional as you say you are, none of this should be mentioned at work. So I'm going to hold you to your words on everything you said. Everything I said is not out of hatred or revenge, but this is how I feel towards you, and I just want to be logical with you. This is my closure to you. I love you. That's a lie. I just want the best for you. I hope you find someone to love you for who you are and for how you want them to. I'm moving on with my life. I'm happy with myself, and I am blessed that in such a short amount of time during my single season. First of all, he never had a single season, okay? Just letting you guys know. I found a woman who loved me and my family for who I am and for who they are. This woman has shown me nothing but unconditional love, kindness, and grace. she's grateful that she taught me I don't need to be bitter towards you anymore, but to appreciate you, because at the end of the day, you are not a bad person, but you were just a human being who wants happiness. I really hope that you take the time to truly find that happiness you are looking, and I hope it'll start with finding yourself in your solitude. Take care of yourself, and I will no longer reach out to you unless it's necessary. So he was basically talking about his baby mama, basically. Like, y'all, he was never single. He was never single, you guys. Like, he was still married to me. And then, you know, he didn't communicate with me saying that, okay, we're done over, let's do the divorce process. He didn't do that. Like, he decided to leave me. 2 weeks later, he got with his baby mama. So he was never single. But then again, you guys, like I mentioned, I feel like parts of that message, his mom wrote that to me. And all I gotta say is, Lost Mom, if you're listening to my podcast, if you're just, I don't know, secretly listening to my podcast, I'm letting you know I'm not stupid, okay? This is what I have to say to you guys too, as well too. Lost Mom is a type of mom where she hides behind the computer. She uses her kids, her sons, as a bait, or what they call it, flying monkeys, where, you know, if family members or people who are saying bad things about her, she will use her kids' text, Facebook message to personally respond to those people. And there were a couple times where there was like family members and church issues that happened. I'll give you guys an example, okay? Why I know that Lost Mom wrote to me and parts of that message is because back in 2012, when I was the youth president, and at that time, me and the rest of the youth board members, like the vice president, the secretary, the person who was in charge of who was the treasurer, right? We were going through the last year youth expenses, and it turns out that $500 was missing, and the person who was in charge of it said that, you know, that $500 wasn't missing at all, and it was there. But when I did the calculation and everything, that girl, like, that was a lie, because I calculated everything. You know, we kept records of every transactions that we did for the youth, and at the end of it all, $500 was missing. So we had a meeting about that, and of course her dad was the board member, like the top board member, the elders, or whatever you want to call him. And we had a meeting. It didn't go so well. There's some like drama here and there, but at the end of it all, I wasn't aware, but somehow her dad and our pastor at that time, they found a Facebook post, and apparently Lost Boy and his aunt wrote a post on their Facebook talking about our issues. And I guess her dad printed that paper out of their messages, and they were offended, and they're saying that, you know, you guys shouldn't be writing these things about our church. Now other churches have heard about like our problems, and we don't need that to be circling around social media. And when I found out about that, I was very disappointed in Lost Boy. I even asked him, you know, I'm very disappointed in you. Like, why would you write something like that on your Facebook? Like, don't you know that, you know, people don't need to know about what you're feeling on Facebook? You don't need to write those things. And then when I said that, he told me that, well, I didn't write it. I'm like, you didn't write it? Then who wrote it? And then he told me, my mom. You guys. He told me that Lost Mom went through his Facebook and wrote whatever the fuck she wrote about our issues, the youth issue on social media. And I was like, how could your mom do that to you? Why do you allow your mom, your stepmom, to write all these things and portray it as if it was you? And I know deep down, Lost Boy would never do that, but because he can't say no to his stepmom, he allowed her to write those things. And I was like, well, that's kind of fucked up. Another incident, I remember one time the family itself had an issue where something happened. And again, I wasn't in that text or that text chain message, group message, or whatever it was. But from what I heard is that something happened, and then something about with the grandma, like the grandma was really sad that somebody said something about her or whatever. And then Lost Mom was mentioned in it as well. And then I'm pretty sure she also went through her son's phone and responded to those aunts about the issues between the grandma. And I was like, are you sure? And I may ask Lost Boy, are you sure that's your brother writing all those things? He's like, yeah, I'm sure that he was the one that wrote all of that. I was like, I don't think your brother will be the one to write any of these things. And the only reason I said that is because, like I mentioned to you guys, Lost Mom is the type where she used Lost Boy to write those things on his social media. So I wouldn't be surprised if she used her only son to write those response in that group chain letter. I wouldn't be surprised if she used her son's message to message those aunts and the response to the grandma. What I'm trying to say is that when I was reading the message to you guys about his response, you guys can clearly hear that there was at least 2 people writing to me about this. It was there was a lot of him talking about him, and then later on it was as if like somebody else was like talking to me or messaging me about, oh, I should be a better wife or whatever. And then the girl part, okay, it's kind of like, why would Lost Boy put girl in it unless he's gay? You know, because like some gay guys, they were like, girl, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, but the way that I read it, it was like, I don't think Lost Boy will write that. So I'm just trying to tell y'all is that she just loves to be in other people's business, okay? And like I'm saying, if she happens to hear this, good, because guess what? I'm not stupid. And for those people who knows her, watch your back, because you never know if she's just, hiding behind the screen and pretending to be her sons, but really it's her writing all those things. So just be careful, because if I'm able to catch that, y'all need to be able to catch her and her response and her kids' response, because it might not be her kids that are writing all those things. I'm just saying, okay? But anyways, going back to the closure of his response, I responded back saying that, he claims that he forgave me and that he's moving on and stuff. But you guys can clearly hear from his message that, it was him blaming me for everything. Basically, he can't keep accountability for himself. And for what I learned from this whole experience is that, yeah, I did give him an ultimatum, but at the same time, if you're married to a man, you shouldn't even give him an ultimatum. There should never be an ultimatum. Why give this person an ultimatum when you guys are together in this marriage? If you have to give a man or a woman an ultimatum to save your marriage, it goes to show that the motherfucker don't give a fuck. They know what they're doing, but yet they purposely aren't trying the hardest to work on the marriage. And if you have to give them an ultimatum, if you have to scare them so that they can just wake the fuck up and, get the shit together, then there's no point in being in that relationship. I'm sorry, you guys. That's just what I have to say. If you have to give them an ultimatum, that's the end of it. Because if they're not showing if they're not showing that, they want to change, they want to work on this relationship, then they will never, even if you gave them the ultimatum. Also, similar with giving the ultimatum, if you have to beg the person to come back home, then it's not going to work out either too. Why be in this marriage and then somehow all of a sudden you want to run away? It's basically the person telling you that they're not capable of working out in this relationship. They tend to run away from their problems. And for them for him to say that you never asked me to come back, you guys, I will do a separate episode to specifically go through in details on what actually happened when we had our first so-called separation, and then what that led to us to finally get divorced, okay? But basically, he's the type where he wants me to beg him, like be on my knees, kiss his dirty ass feet, and beg him to come home. I'm not that type of person to do that. Because my thing is this, you know, I'm married to you and I'm going to go all out to work on this relationship because I've decided to spend the rest of my fucking life with you. And for you to expect me to beg you, I don't need to beg you. I got you already. I'm married to you already. The question is that why are you running away from your problems? The grass is not greener on the other side. You think that it is, but it's not. You can keep running away, but at the end of it all, you still have to come back home to figure the shit out. And that's the reason why things didn't work out with us, because you wanted to run away. I mean, I was still here. I was still willing to fix our marriage, fix our problems. But yet you as a person couldn't take accountability of your own action, and you just wanted to point fingers at me. So it goes to show you guys that people who hates ultimatum, people who run away when it comes to serious issues or just small little dumbass issues that can be fixable, and someone who wants you to beg them to come back home when clearly you already got them already and they still want you to do all of that, just dump their motherfucking ass. Like, don't waste your fucking time. I'm telling you guys, okay, I lived through this, and it's just no point of you just sticking around and hoping and praying that they'll change and they'll do things for you. No, okay, wake the fuck up. You know, this is not a dream. Okay, this is fucking reality. There's people like that. Lost boy is like that. I'm pretty sure the person that you're with is like that. If they're showing all those things, that's a sign that they don't fucking love you. Because you have to ask yourself this. If you're the type where you are going to go all out, you love this person so hard to the point where you're willing to take a bullet, that's fucking like love right there. Like, I know I'm capable of loving a person. I'll go deep into it and go all out for this person. But if this person's not willing to do that, it goes to show that he or she don't give a fuck. So overall, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, it's best to just close that fucking door. And I get, you know, you want to be cordial, you want to end it in a good note. But again, some people, like Lost Boy, is very fucking petty. They love the drama. They love to be pettiness. They low-key like to be that type of person. For me, I'm not like that. You know, my thing is that I wanted a clean break, and I've already accepted that things happen the way it is. And like you said, we're not compatible. And that's the only thing I can agree with him, that we were never compatible from the beginning. And, you know, we should have just ended when he mentioned that. But because I was so hopeful and I was just stupid and naive, didn't know much about myself, didn't know what I was putting myself into, that, you know, I decided to stay this long. And now that I finally see the whole truth of who he is as a person, overall, it's just best to just close that door. Don't let it open. Because the moment when you have that door open, it's going to be easy for them to manipulate you. It's easier for them to get your attention. And if you're not as strong of a woman or as strong of a person to say no and to control your emotions, then guess what? They got you hooked. Okay, you don't want to be that fish in their hook. Okay, because you going back to that person, it's just the same cycle all over again. Listen to me. If you're not gonna listen to nobody, at least listen to me, because I've been there, done it. I'm letting you know, the way that they treat you now, like during that time you're in the relationship, and after you guys break up, it will never change. Because if they wanted to change to better themselves, then it would have changed you guys' relationship as a whole. But if not, then you guys, there's no point. There's no point of being in that relationship. You're only in it because you're comfortable. You need validation from that person, and you want the love from another person. But at the end of it all, you need to be able to love yourself enough to know your worth, your value, and what you deserve. Because all those shitty crap that the person is treating you, it's not worth it. And yes, I get that it's really lonely to be single. And that's the reason why I created this podcast is because, you know, as much as I went through all these things and I'm telling you guys all the bad shit in the beginning of my episodes, like afterwards, you know, I want to share with you guys that I'm a living proof that you can be single, enjoy your singleness, but at the same time be able to love yourself and to cater to your own self. That way, when you learn to be in your own space, to be comfortable of who you are as a person, then you can allow yourself to know who to look out for when it comes to getting yourself into a relationship or to start a relationship. And that way, you know that that person can love you, can respond back, and can give you the same love as you can give that person. So that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, just to bring you guys in awareness about this podcast, okay? But overall, like I said, it's just best to just close that door. If that person decided not to and they kept reaching out to you, just ignore it. I know you miss him. I know you miss her. I know you miss all those good memories and all those bad memories too. But at the same time, don't stress yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, and you want better for yourself. Because the way I see is that if you keep going back to the ex, it's not going to do you any good. You're not going to grow to become the best version of yourself. It's best to just close that door and move on forward. Leave everything in the past. And I know that it can be really hard, but use that experience, the past experience, to make it as a lesson and learn from it. Don't repeat the same mistake. Because if you repeat the same mistake, it goes to show that you didn't learn anything from it. That's what I have to say about that. So what I did after all of that had happened, I'm very thankful that I have sisters that knew a lot more about manifesting and the full moon ritual and the new moon ritual and all that stuff. They told me that I can do a full moon ritual. So basically what the full moon is, the full moon represents the most powerful point in this cycle. It is a time of high energy and high power, and it is a time to release and let go of all that no longer serves you in order to welcome in the new. So in the cycle of death and rebirth, the full moon represents the starting of the death. And what my sister told me is that on the full moon, I should write a letter to him. And when writing a letter to him, I had to express all of my feelings, all of my emotions, the good and the bad, and write it down. Write it as if I'm writing to him, as if I'm writing this letter and giving it to him. But instead of giving it to him, I'm actually going to burn it. So what I did was I took the time to write this letter and to express, like I mentioned, all of my feelings that I had towards him, toward his family, especially towards his parents, but most importantly, just him in general. And, I thought that I could just write like so much like bad shit about him, but instead, me as a person, I'm not like that. I don't remember what exactly I wrote, but all I can say that it was a very positive letter to him, just wanting the best for him, and that even though we're not together anymore, I wish him the best in whatever life gives him. So instead of just bashing and calling a bitch and I fucking hate you, no, I didn't write anything like that. So but basically I wrote it. I think I wrote the letter 3 days before the full moon. As the full moon came that day, I was driving. I just got off work and I was just driving home. And usually when I drive home, I like to listen to music. Okay, I got my music on. I was just listening to the music, and I was thinking in my head that, okay, this is the day where I have to burn this letter and let go of him. And you guys, it was so hard for me to actually let go and to process everything and to accept that this is it. It was just hard. It's just hard for me to let go in general. And I knew that the day has come that I have to do this in order for me to move on and to accept new things in my life. And while I was driving, it was just the perfect timing, I guess, because Jordan Sparks' song, This Is Mine Now, came up. And as she starts singing, there was a time I packed my dreams away. Y'all, I started bawling my eyes off. I was like, just thinking about it, just telling you guys about this. Yeah, I was like, I'm so stupid. Why the fuck was I crying over this? But yeah, like right after I was just like sitting there driving home, and her song came up, and the first two lines that she sang, I cried my eyes off, because if you guys know this song, it's just basically talking about this is her time, and that she's not having anything else get in the way of what she can become. And I don't know, it just somehow it just appeared, and I don't know, it just happened like that. And I guess it was supposed to be like that. It was just a reminder for myself that, Drew, you can do this. You can let go of this person. You can become the best version of yourself. So right after I got done listening to that song, I made it home safely. It was super cold. It was still winter at that time. And luckily my brothers, they had a small little grill that they set outside, and I grabbed the letter and then I just burned it. I watched it burn. The full moon was up there, and right as it was burning, I felt a sense of baggage lifting off of my shoulder, and I knew that I was going to be okay. For those who are listening, you don't have to do this, but for me, like I mentioned, after my divorce, I had a spiritual awakening, and I became more spiritual. And like I said, my sisters, I'm super grateful for them and their knowledge, and it's just a way to help me release Lost Boy and release all of those bad things that happened to me, so that I can start new. And it helped me, and I'm not saying that you guys are supposed to do this, but if you want to try this, it's totally up to you. And me doing this, it helped me to realize that, I'll be okay. I will have moments where I will be emotional, I will cry, be mad, sad, but that's just part of being a human, being an individual. And during this full moon ritual, I was able to let go of him, let go of the things that he did towards me. Look at it in a way where, that at some point he didn't mean it, or it could be that he didn't know himself, or he just didn't know at all, but it's no excuse for that kind of treatment. Aside from that, yes, I did the full moon ritual, and it helped me. And for those who do want to do that, I would advise, just writing a letter to that person that you are letting go of. Either it's your, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or whatever it is, where you decide to end the relationship, and that you're supposed to let go of this person. You're supposed to close that door and start a new chapter. And if you need help to get the closure, highly recommend you guys to do the full moon ritual. You don't have to write them a message like how I did, because it didn't go too well, but instead of giving that letter to that person, you're actually spiritually releasing that person by writing the letter and burning it. If you have no idea what to write, I've wrote this, I don't know if you want to call it a poem or whatever, but yeah, you can use this in your letter, and I hope that it'll help you in any ways. You can add this to your letter before or after what you will write to this person, based on your emotions and whatnot. But I will definitely post this on my Facebook page so that you guys can read. Hopefully it'll help you begin this closure of yours. And so I titled this Thank You, and it's my closure letter to you. This chapter of our life has finally come to an end. We fought and tried our best to overcome all the battles we thought we could have won from the love we had for each other. Yet love was not enough for us to withstand harsh stormy nights, and those big waves has finally broke us apart. Though this is the end of what we thought could have been an everlasting lifetime, this is just the beginning to new beginnings. I no longer hold on to any anger, resentment, sadness, loneliness, and heartache towards you. At one point in my life, you were everything to me. I put you in the pedestal and saw you as a god. Now I have to take you down and put me up there instead. It's not that I don't love you anymore. It's because I've realized I need to love me first. You will always be someone I once loved wholeheartedly, all in all, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of my life for the past years. Thank you for showing me the love you were able to give me. Thank you for making me realize I am worthy and valuable to be loved. Thank you for the good and bad memories. Thank you for allowing me to love you in return, even if it hurted me to know you couldn't reciprocate. I only wish you the best in what life has to offer you. Surround yourself with happiness and love. And although we are no longer together, just know that I will always love you. I hope that this letter will give you guys a guidance to starting your letters to the person that you are letting go of. And if you do the full moon ritual and it has helped you, let me know, because it surely did help me. And overall, is all that I have about this topic. And overall, like I said, it's just best to just close that door. That way you can begin your new journey to your new life. And yes, there'll be times where you will have those emotions of missing that person, of wanting love from them, and you reminiscing all the good memories that you had with this person. But it's not going to do you any good if you keep yourself in the past. I say move on forward, keep your head straight, and I'm sure that there will be someone that will be better for you, that will love you wholeheartedly, and that will treat you in a way where you deserve to be treated. And with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who has tuned in to my episodes, for listening, and also for privately messaging me and giving me your response and feedbacks. I love those. So don't hesitate to reach out to me or to just ask questions for more information. I can also do some clarification on the next episode and whatnot. But thank you so much for you guys for listening and for supporting. And as always, stay tuned for the next episode, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.